Alrighty, we are back with another episode. This episode is so great. We just sat down with a newer friend of Creativ Rise. She was in the last round of the Creativ Rise Mastermind. She's local to us, so she came all the way to our home to do this interview today. Kristin Healy, she's phenomenal. Her business has been totally flipped up on its head in the last 20 months when she went full time. She's got an incredible story of being a mom, a wife, a business owner, combining all these things. There's so much we can learn from her.
Yeah.
Such a cool episode.
It's so good. And you guys, if you're paying attention, the next mastermind is coming. It's starting September 10th, but waitlist applications come on August 23rd. So you guys, this month, in just a couple weeks, applications are going to be open for those who choose to join the early access waitlist. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I just jumped in, I just heard about this episode, what the heck is a mastermind? Our Creativ Rise Mastermind is our 6-week signature program where we walk creatives through the strategy you need to be able to create a 6-figure business and to do it fast. We say that this should shortcut you 6 years. Yeah. We want this information to be so applicable, so ready for you to take and actually put into your business so that you're no longer confused, but you're actually really clear. You're clear on your brand, you're clear on your marketing, you're clear on what to do every single day so that you can build a business that you can live off of, that you can survive off and thrive off of.
100%, which sounds a little bit ridiculous for us to make that claim of hey, we really want to shortcut you, but it is true. And the reason why we can say that is because, first of all, there's been over 250 people go through this, which is incredible. And there's so many people that would back how much it shortcut them. But the design is to shortcut you because we give you the tools, tips, and strategies you need, but we give it to you in a community that keeps you accountable. And that's what shortcuts you.
Yes.
So many people have bought courses, they buy different pieces of education, and it winds up sitting in their inbox, or it winds up sitting on their computer, or they bought a book and they never read it, and they never get the shortcut they intended to get when they bought that item. And the mastermind is designed completely to reverse that because you are held accountable in a community. So we cannot wait. This is round 10. Round 10 of the mastermind. It's crazy. We're going to be taking 35 businesses. And like Christy said, the 35 businesses that are going to get the spots most likely will be 35 businesses that are already on the wait list because the wait list gets first access to apply. So,
and there's already over 200 people
on the wait list. So there's a lot. If you want to make this year the year where you get everything you need to build a 6-figure business or a business that's on your way to 6 figures, then you got to get on the wait list because everybody else is already on there. We do not want you to miss out. All you got to do, head to creativrise.com and we'll see you over there. You can get all the information. But other than that, guys, today's episode, like we said, is going to give you so much value. Especially if you are someone who is planning on having a family and running a business, this episode is going to be phenomenal for you. I loved this conversation with Kristin, so here she is. Kristin, welcome to the show. More importantly, welcome to our home. We were just talking about this before we started recording. You are one of 3 in-person interviews you've ever done. And only the second one in our house, which is really cool. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the podcast. We are so excited to chat. There's so many things we want to chat about. But as we always do, we always get into rapid fire. You listen to the show. You know that. Everybody else who's listening to the show, we got some rapid fire coming for you. So first question, very simple. Where are you from?
I'm from Auburn, California. Just up the street.
Not far.
Literally a stone's throw away.
Yep, a stone's throw away, about 10 minutes. So, yeah.
And you live in the neighborhood you actually grew up in, right?
That's right. My parents still live in the same neighborhood, so we're neighbors, which is amazing. It helps with babysitting.
So
and
cute.
We are in the same home that my husband grew up in.
That's crazy.
My gosh.
That's
so cool.
Really cool.
That's like a Hallmark movie.
It is. It's really cool to see our children grow up in the house that he grew up in. And our son is in his same childhood bedroom, and
That's so
amazing.
cool.
Oh my gosh,
I love
that's
it.
so
Okay,
cute.
so what do you do? What do you tell people you do when they say, what do you do? I know we were talking earlier. We actually did a podcast recording earlier, and we said it's kind of a weird question sometimes. Yours might be a little bit more simple than the guy we interviewed earlier, but what do you do when people ask you what you do?
I just say I'm a wedding photographer.
Nice and simple.
Love it.
Yep. I say I do weddings. I shoot weddings and couples, and that's what I do full time.
I love it.
Great.
Full time.
Full
I love it. We're going to talk about that.
Yep.
And how long have you been in the creative industry for?
Photography specifically, I like to consider myself in the creative industry for a long time. Basically, that's what I went to school for. But starting my own business, I'm going on 3 years. So,
Amazing.
Yeah.
So,
love
so
that.
cool.
3 years this October.
That's great.
And when did you go full time? You just mentioned that you are full time. So
Yep. So I went full time right after my daughter was born. She's about 20 months. So I basically went on maternity leave and was like, that's it for me. And I started my own business, went full force. Before that, I was just kind of dabbling in photography, did it on weekends, trying to fit it into my schedule. And then it got to a point, fortunately, that I said, you know what, we're going to make this a thing. And I went on leave and never went back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's so good.
Her previous employer, if you're watching
Yeah.
this, she's actually, she's not really sorry
Love
because
you.
she's
Yeah.
loving life. Okay, so the last question, this is a typical question we ask everybody, but what's a flop you've had? We're going to talk about amazing things you've accomplished. Let's humanize Kristin for a second. What's a flop you've maybe had in your
Wow.
business since you went full time?
One of the first weddings that I shot, I was the second shooter, and I did not back up the memory card, so it was just like overwriting a dual slot camera. And I went home and I was so excited to edit some photos for my own portfolio, and I was like, oh crap. And I actually reached out to that photographer and I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I did not save any of my own photos. Like, is there any way you can send some to me? And luckily she was amazing. And she said, you know what, that's totally fine. And we met up.
That's awesome.
And we are still great friends to this day. So
Yeah.
it worked out in
A
my
happy
favor.
ending.
But I was so embarrassed. I was
my
like,
gosh.
do you mind sending me like 3 photos? And she's like, no worries. Like, I got you. So
That's awesome.
that was embarrassing.
No more sinking of a feeling when something does not go
Yeah.
right with a memory card.
On a
Yes,
wedding
that-
day.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is the worst.
So I was just,
Yeah.
I was thankful that she got all the photos that she needed. I'm like, you know what, if this is a loss for me, then that's fine, but I got to shoot my shot.
Yeah.
And
Good
it
for
worked
you
out.
for shooting your shot to get those photos. I love that.
That's great. Yeah.
I love when we ask this question because the wedding photographer ones always make me cringe.
Yeah.
Because most of the brand people that we have on the podcast are commercial people. It's like, oh, like I like dropped my camera and this broke. But there's the stakes aren't as high typically in the commercial space. You can like
Right.
typically reshoot something or replan it, reschedule it. But weddings are like,
Yep.
this
One
is the
and
deal.
done.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
this
That's
is
all
the
you
deal.
get.
So I
Yep.
know you've had your fair share of like awkward stuff like that. I definitely have.
Yes,
I've only
yes.
shot like 3 weddings, and one of them I basically missed the ceremony. So that was really bad.
A story
But
for
we all.
another
So when
day.
maybe that's why I cringe when I hear
Yeah.
people talking about wedding stuff because I'm
Yes.
like, oh, like it makes me go back to the moment.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, well,
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing with us that, Kristin. First of all, you are awesome. You are a mom of 2. You've started this business kind of just from scratch, and you've made it happen. You've made a lot happen over the last 12 months, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And being like having a second child and doing that while you have the second child
Yeah.
as a baby, like that's in itself is such a feat. But your business has reached some really cool goals, and you've done a lot of stuff, and you're working with dream clients. But we all know business doesn't just like snap your fingers and it's like that.
Right.
There's always like a journey from where you've gone to where you are now. So back us up to kind of the beginning when you were starting your business. What was that like? What was the journey kind of going from starting to where you're at now? And kind of talk about where you're at now.
Can I jump in one
Yeah.
thing
Yes.
quickly before we go there? Give everybody who's listening where you're at right now, and then we'll go
Yes,
back to the
yes.
beginning.
Okay.
So you've been full time for about 20 months.
Yep.
Give us an update.
Yep. So full time, have my year completely booked out.
Amazing.
And I've already started booking into next year.
Amazing.
And it's, what is it, end of July.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. That's kind of like a pinch me moment. When I first started, it was kind of just like a hobby, you hear a lot of stories that start like that. I was working full time, super pregnant, and was like, I know that I don't want to go back to a 9-to-5. So I made it my mission. I said, I'm going to pick up a camera, watch YouTube videos all day and see if that works. Luckily in Auburn, you kind of know everybody because that's where we grew up. So just word of mouth, and eventually I started booking all my weekends. And then I kind of had like that moment that was like, oh crap, now I'm working 9-to-5, Monday through Friday,
And on
super
weekends.
pregnant, and now I'm working weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. So I left my job, like I said, when I had the baby, and it's just been amazing. And I've invested in my education. Still do, Creativ Rise, which I'm a huge component for because, there's always somebody who can teach you something that you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I will continue to do that. And then just from there, I think just it grew, and I don't really, Don't really know how it happened because it kind
Yeah.
of seemed like it happened overnight, like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And photography is kind of like this. It comes in waves, and I've just been fortunate enough to ride the high of that wave for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to continue to do that.
And this is like so fun to talk about numbers because I feel like numbers for creatives can sometimes hold people back. They go, I don't want to jump in full time. I don't want to quit my 9 to 5 because I don't think actually having a profitable creative business is possible. Whether it's because I'm just nervous about it or because I'm a mom and I have like responsibilities of like financial things I need to take care of.
Right.
Where were you at kind of before you went full time income wise? And then where are you at now?
So working a 9 to 5, making $21 an hour, and being completely burnt out, I was probably making around $35,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's away from your kids.
That's away
at
from
a desk
my
all
kids.
day.
That's paying for childcare. Yeah, being confined to a desk and just not feeling fulfilled. And now I make my own schedule. I get to spend more time with my children, and I'm estimated to make about $85,000 at the end of the year.
Woo!
And that feels unreal.
Amazing.
Unreal.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so good.
You're 20 months in and you're making way over double what you were making in a
Right.
9 to 5
Yep.
with, I'm assuming, way more freedom in
Yep.
your life. You have
Yeah.
more time to spend with your family, your kids. So I think a lot of people who listen to the show are in a similar stage. They are family people, whether it's fathers, there's mothers, and they're wanting to build a business that's going to give them the income or a potential, rise towards the income that they've always wanted, and also having the free time to spend time with family and
Right.
kind of build their own schedule. Now that you have that, talk me through getting to now. Like, what were some of the things that you felt when you started to think about this? So you're in your job and you're like, okay, I don't want to go back.
Right.
Talk me through those feelings.
It was definitely scary. But I took the leap. Basically you just go in. I'm like, I'm going to give this 100%, everything I have. And that was my motivation, was to not have to go back to a 9 to 5 job. So I said, this is going to work. There's no other option, and I knew that I would not personally, I am not a stay-at-home mom kind of gal. So I feel like as mothers, parents, that you kind of get put into a box. One is you stay home with your kids and you're the homemaker and the wife, and that's it. Or you're a working mom and you have to pay somebody for childcare and this and that. So I was trying to combine the two, the best that I could. And I do feel like I have done that. That I do have a job that I'm so passionate about and I love and it's fulfilling, but I also still do get that amazing quality time with family. That was really what I was after.
That's huge.
And
That's
get
so
to
cool.
contribute financially.
Yeah, 100%.
I love we were
Yeah.
talking and you were like, we were at a wedding that you were shooting and you were like, I'm starting to feel like a breadwinner.
Yes,
that's amazing.
I was like, whoa.
Let's go. Let's go.
So good.
I was
That's
like,
so
am I
cool.
the sugar mama?
Yeah, maybe.
Hey,
I love
take
this.
it. Claim it. Claim it. So, okay,
That's
so
so
you
good.
you fully jump in, which is something that a lot of people take forever to do because it's scary. And you
Yes.
said
Yeah.
you said you jumped in pretty
Yep.
quickly because you
Yeah.
knew that was really what you wanted. But it's scary, and for a lot of people, it's scary. So speak to the person that's sitting here going, Kristin, I'm hearing you. I'm exactly where you were. I'm working a job that I do not love, and I really want to be pursuing this creative thing full time because I think it's going to give me a better life down the road. But
Right.
the risk or the unknown feels really scary. What would you say to that person?
I would say number one, invest in education. That helped immensely. I had absolutely no idea how to run a business. I didn't know anything about CRMs or, setting up automations, things like that. I had no idea. I'm like, Venmo? Like, you want to Venmo me? And I quickly realized that that's not how it works. So I would say, first and foremost, invest in education and then just go for it. Give it everything you have. Try everything, whether that's weddings, families, brands, try everything. And one of the mistakes that I did make actually was feeling like I had to do one. Like I had to pick one specific niche and I could not accept any other clients.
Yep.
Whereas now my mindset has kind of changed where it's like, you know what? I actually enjoy doing that. Like, for example, brands, that's something I enjoy.
Yeah, 100%.
So why not?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of photographers do when they first start too. Like they're like, nope, I'm going to solely do elopements. And then you miss out on all this, potential. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit. You got recently flown to Hawaii. Just tell us
Yes.
a little bit of a story about how that happened, What was that for? That's kind of an exciting story.
Yeah, that's a dream for a lot of people, right?
It really was. So that was a client who reached out to me wanting some brand photos. She has her own business, life insurance, and she just wanted to grow her social media presence. She knows that she has to put her face out there, grow her social media. That's how she gets her clients. So she reached out to me. She said, this might sound a little crazy, but I really want to go to Hawaii. I'm going to treat myself and go to Hawaii. Why don't you come with me?
I love that.
And we'll make it a thing. And I said, sign me up. And I said,
my ticket?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we did. We created this whole session for her, mood boards, everything, you know, and she's amazing now. She's thriving, and we're going to work together again soon in Colorado.
So cool.
You're just getting flown around being someone's photographer.
And I love it. Yes.
Not bad spots.
Not a bad
to pick.
spot.
Whoever's picking those
No.
spots has got a good picker. So
That's so cool.
Okay, talk to me about pricing. We just had an offline conversation before we started recording this episode. You have, just like jumping into doing this full time, the way you just jumped into that, you're also jumping into pricing changes. And that is something that also plagues people because they're so nervous about making a pricing change or a pricing decision. And you, when we met you, you were in round 9 of the Creativ Rise Mastermind. And talk to me about what your prices were when you came in.
Okay. My pricing was probably the average, most book package was probably around $3,000.
Okay.
And that was for an 8-hour package, complimentary engagement session, second shooter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which isn't terrible, but you know, for different people that can really work. But
True.
Right.
for our area, for the quality of work you're doing, the amount of people that you were booking, there was some opportunity to grow that.
Right.
And you changed your pricing to what?
Yeah. So now that same package, that 8-hour package, is $4,250.
Awesome.
And it has continued to be my most booked package. And so I'm going to raise my prices again.
You're going to raise your prices again.
I'm gonna raise
so
again.
what makes you want to raise your prices again?
Just that the mindset of doing less weddings and making
Same
more
money.
money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so you're sitting here boldly saying that. And I love your natural confidence because I think that's like such a quality of people that succeed in this industry. But for so many people that maybe don't have so much of that, like they get, like I said earlier, they get plagued by, I don't know when I can raise my prices. And what I hear you saying is you can raise your prices whenever you want.
Yeah.
Which is what Christy and I would also agree with, and what we encouraged you with in the mastermind. And we
Exactly.
encourage everybody if it's the right thing for them. So what would you say to the person who's like, hey, I have been running on the same packages for like a year and a half, 2 years. They don't feel like they're necessarily serving me super well right now. You're not as excited about getting the weddings as you used to be because the money doesn't feel maybe as worth it as it used to be.
Totally.
What do you say to that person?
I think the piece of advice that Christy gave me was if you're booking, I don't remember the ratio exactly, like 6 out of 10 or
that's it.
something like that, then that's time to raise your prices. And that's what I've been going by. I'm like, okay, I continually get clients that book this same package, my middle package, for 8 hours. And they're still, I mean, I love all my clients, but I feel like I could be doing more, just opening up to a whole new client base.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the cycle, right? It's like the 6 out of 10 is kind of like the golden number. 6 out of 10 meaning like you get 10 inquiries and 6 out of those 10 people say yes. When you send back your prices, they say yes. So it's kind of like if you're exceeding that, chances are 6 out of the 10 people will book that new price. Whereas like right now, if like 9 out of 10 people are saying yes, then your prices are definitely too low, right?
Right.
You have people that want to be paying more, or not wanting to be paying more, but would pay more for your services.
And the context behind that is if you've got 10 people that are really excited to work with you and you're booking 9 out of 10 of them, odds are you could have booked 5 or 6 for a higher price, right? And made the same amount of money, if not more money, for less work, which is the goal of scale, right? Okay, so break me down if you can pull it off the top of your head. What are your current wedding packages if you're willing to share those? I know you said your middle one's like $4,250 right now, which is what you're booking. And the reason why I wanna have you share your prices is I'm assuming you've structured them the way we talk about structuring them in the mastermind, which is why you're probably booking the middle one. So break that down a little bit. How do you approach your 3 different packages?
Yeah. So the goal is to point them towards that middle one, like you said. So my first one, not really that appealing. 6 hours, no second shooter, no engagement session. And I want to say that's like 30, maybe 36 or 3,700.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then my highest package, really similar to my middle package, but I also offer expedited editing.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So that's still an 8-hour package. You still get that complimentary session, a second shooter, but you get your gallery sooner. And some people, you know, book a wedding photographer with the expectation that you're going to get your gallery in 6 to 8 weeks. Like that's pretty, you know, that's pretty average. So that one is around, I want to say close to 5,000, maybe 4,900.
Yep.
Something around there.
So a decent jump from the middle one. Yeah.
Totally. So the goal is just to funnel them into that middle one.
Great.
Make the middle one look attractive. Yeah.
Yep. And that one is $4,650, like we said earlier.
Awesome. That's so great. But it's about to go up.
It's about to go up.
It's about to go up, everybody.
If you're one of her brides who
if you
wants to
wanna
be your
book,
bride, you better book now. Yeah.
Book literally
Get in
today.
her
Yeah,
inbox.
I love it.
Okay, so talk to us about where you're getting your leads, because a lot of people are struggling right now with inquiries.
Right.
They're like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting anybody. Where do you feel like your leads are coming from? Like if maybe top 2 areas on which you're kind of obtaining some leads.
I would say Instagram is by far number 1.
Cool.
And then probably just word of mouth networking, number 2.
Yeah.
In my inquiry form, when they go to my website and fill that out, it says, how did you hear about me? And it's Instagram and referral. So
Amazing.
I'm good with that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Totally.
very happy
Hey,
with
simple
that.
works.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If you can simplify simple and you can make it work, it's phenomenal. So I was going to say, talk to me about Instagram because it's such a buzzword. Today's podcast, we talked a ton about Instagram. The guy we interviewed this morning, he's blown up on it. You have not gained 100,000 new followers in the last 3 months. So how the heck is Instagram working for you? Like, is that even possible? Of course it is. What are you doing on Instagram that's working for you? And I'm assuming it's going to be more like, these are my actions I take that drive sales, right? Because growth on social is phenomenal. The more people you can reach, the better.
But sometimes it's a vanity
at the end of
metric.
the day,
Right.
it is a vanity metric if
Right.
you can't sell those people. So what are you doing with a regular sized audience that is leading to you booking out?
Yeah, I honestly think it's just posting consistently.
Totally.
Yeah, and I know that Joey's gonna have some words, but I'm not on Threads. I'm not on TikTok.
Oh, that's totally fine.
I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm not on any of that. I solely focus on Instagram because I'm like a one-track mind kind of gal. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna focus on this. This is gonna be my thing, and we're gonna make it work.
Occupy your
Love it.
street. I love that.
Yep.
Pick one thing and do it really well.
Yes.
That I will
Yes.
take that.
Yeah.
I have no words to that other than I love
Okay,
it because
good. Okay,
if
good.
if you can't do multiple things well, zone into one. If you can do one
Exactly.
well,
Yes.
oh my gosh,
Exactly.
do it. And if it's working for your business, do it,
Yeah.
right? Like if you have to run 4 different platforms in order to feed your business with leads, that's what you got to do. If you're booking out off one platform, oh my gosh, that's that's what you want.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I just post consistently, you know, make friends with all the vendors,
Yes.
send them the finished gallery, they share their work, and it's just a cycle.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like what you're talking about, especially with gaining leads for specifically weddings on Instagram with a regular size audience, it's like when people find you through Instagram, a lot of times it's not on some big For You page or it's
Right.
some huge reposting
Right.
account. Oftentimes it's, hey, I saw you got tagged by one of my
Exactly.
friends or your
Exactly.
vendor or my
Yep.
planner posted about you or somebody posted or I saw a story or something like that.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's this referral based within Instagram that is so powerful for weddings and you've cracked it
Yeah.
because you're intentional.
Yeah.
You're intentional about tagging people. I mean, I follow you. You're intentional about tagging people. You're intentional on commenting on other people's stuff. You're
Mm-hmm.
interactive. You look open on Instagram,
Yes,
which is what
that-
you want to look
Open
like.
for business.
Yeah.
So you do that in such a great
Yeah.
way.
You're putting yourself in position to be seen,
Yeah.
right? Which is everything. Because if you're listening to the show and you're going, hey, I don't have many inquiries right now, it's probably because enough people are not seeing you, right?
Right.
And it's not just the number of people, because like we said, followers can be similar to reach. Like, it's not just about how many people are seeing you, it's about like the quality of people that are seeing you,
Right.
right? And like, are they brides? So are you connecting and being social and being open for business with accounts that would have potential brides following them, right? Like that's so crucial. And that's why I'm like
Yeah.
simple scales.
Yeah.
I love it. If you can
I'm a
simplify into
simple-
that,
yep.
it works, which is so cool. I love it.
Yeah. Do you do anything specific for like referral based things. So like kind of like how do you build a referral system? Like how do you encourage that in people? Do you do anything specific, or is it more just like, hey, I just tag people really well and I'm sharing on it on socials and I just give a great client experience?
Yeah.
Like, is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, I think that's mainly what it is. I don't have a referral system in place or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not to say that that won't happen down the road. But for example, like the wedding that I saw you guys at, Forest House Lodge, Taylor, amazing bride, that I posted about maybe once or twice, got 4 inquiries just off of that from tagging Forest House Lodge, that venue, tagging
amazing.
the vendors.
Strategic. It's smart.
Yep. Taylor sharing her photos and, you know, four inquiries just from that venue.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. So you kind of touched on this right at the beginning and I was like, ooh, I want to come back and touch on that. What is like your workflow? Because there's definitely moms that listen to this podcast that have businesses and they're like, how do I make my input more valuable? So like the input I put in my business, the time I put in my business, how can it go longer for me rather than me having to do it every single step in every single part of my business? And like maybe they are right now just being like, Venmo me and like text me the like amount, like whatever. Like maybe things feel all over the place and they want to like make things just feel like a systemized ship that can just like go. What do you do to make it so that your time is like more valuable that you put in your business?
Right. Well, I set up a CRM, which is Dubsado.
Awesome.
Typically either Dubsado or Honeybook are the main two. And that was life-changing. That, you know, you have your emails, you set up the automations, inquiry forms, questionnaires, all of that in your workflows that you don't have to worry about. So I can actually be away from my desk, knowing that my clients are in the workflow, getting all my emails, and I don't have to sit there and physically type out every single email.
Yeah.
The next step in my business, my goal for next year would be to hire somebody.
Let's do it.
I still do everything myself as far as like editing, blogging, things like social media, things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would definitely be the next big goal for me.
I love it. So what I love about you saying use Dubsado, super cool, is CRMs, the opportunity with CRM is it gets all the little things that we have to remember out of our own head and it automates things so that we can actually have brain capacity to take on higher leverage things like connecting with new potential clients and selling them, like all that stuff. So what has been one thing that you're like, oh, I love this about my CRM and that you're really like proud that you set up that you think other people should if they have not yet set it up?
Yeah, I think that would just be my personalized emails. I think that they really showcase my personality. It's not just like a transaction where it's like, thanks for reaching out. Like, expect the next email in 24 hours. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to connect with you and like start planning your dream day. And I can't wait to be a part of it. And then it's also setting up questionnaires to really get to know my clients. Like one of the first emails they get when we move forward, they're in the onboarding process is getting to know you. I want to know what you like to do. What do you and your partner like to do together? What kind of music do you like? So I can play music for you guys, like when we're at our session.
That's awesome.
Things like that.
By the way, sorry to cut you off, but you shot photos of us when we first bought this house.
Oh, yeah.
And what song was it that you played when we rocked up?
It was Welcome to My House.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's that by?
What is it? Flow Rider?
Oh, it's Flow, yes.
Yeah.
So when you said the music thing, I'm like, you are so good at that. I love it.
I show up with
So
my
good.
boombox.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
you
go.
just like plopped it down on the little like driveway right
But
here. I love it.
that's like the
That's the
memorable,
client experience. Yeah.
Yes.
that's the memorable client experience things that makes other people want to refer you, right? Is those little intentional things and intentionally getting to know clients and being able to do that in a workflow that makes sense for you and makes sense for the time that you have to be able to put towards your business is so, so cool. I think that. What other things, if you've got like maybe one or two other things that makes you stand out compared to like just the regular run-of-the-mill wedding photographer that's like whatever, what do you think helps make you stand out so that more people want to book you?
Yeah, I definitely would say client experience is up there because I treat everybody, like I said earlier, not a transaction. Like we are building a connection. If I'm going to be part of your wedding day, like we're going to be buddies, you know, like it's not just a show up and hi, how are you guys? See you next year, you know? I really want to get to know you so I can be involved, you know, and better help serve you during your wedding day. I ask for family names. I want to know who your family is so I can feel comfortable walking up to your mom, and things like that.
Smart.
So I would definitely say client experience, and it's just a connection that I build with my clients. We're all, at the end of the day, we're gonna be best friends, whether they like it or not.
Yes.
So,
That's great.
I love it.
That's so good.
Yeah. So we don't have any kids yet. You have kids.
Yep.
Talk to us about, give us a little bit of advice on what does your day-to-day look like?
Okay.
Yes.
You have a family, you've
Yep.
got kids. There's a lot of people who listen to the show who are
How do
young
you
moms,
balance
young
it?
fathers, young couples, their teams, a husband-wife team, and they've got
Yeah.
kids. What are you doing now that you're working for yourself, which is already a huge, I would assume, leg up on working a 9 to 5 away from your
Right.
family every day? You said you're not like, oh, I want to be the stay-at-home mom, which is an admirable thing, and it's also an
Totally.
admirable thing to not want to do that, right?
Yeah.
It totally depends on your personality, but you're living in this mix where you're like, I want to be a great mom,
wanna
but I
do
also
both.
want to be
Yes.
a businesswoman who
Yep.
crushes it.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Because I'm assuming, I'm not a mom, I'm assuming it's a lot.
It is.
What do you do to
Yeah.
balance that? And what advice do you have for other people who are
Yeah.
listening to the show that are in a similar situation?
Yeah, I'd love to share that because it's something that I learned, which was setting up boundaries. Before, I was like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And very quickly you get burnt out or feel overwhelmed. And the fact of the matter is, if you're feeling, burnt out, then you're not being the best mother, wife, partner, husband, whatever, to your family. So I set up boundaries for myself, actual office hours, as silly as that sounds, because you're
That's
like,
great.
you work from home. Like, why do you need office hours? But I set up office hours. I only accept calls during this time, which is like
Good for you.
10 to 4
Yep.
or something like that.
Cool.
I sit down at my desk, do my emails, my editing then about 3 times a week. So 10 to 4, 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the other days are spent with my kids. And we go, to the park, do our activities and
I
things
love
like
it.
that. But it really is setting those boundaries so you don't feel obligated to be checking your phone or your email every 20 minutes. Yeah.
I love that. And
That's
then
so cool.
if I can ask the inverse of that,
Yeah.
how do you be the businesswoman when your family or your kids are wanting mom? Because that must be a tough thing.
Yeah.
Right? So in those office hours or when you have to go out in an evening for a shoot, what are some of the things that you do to
Yeah, maybe some like practical
like
tips.
still
Yeah.
make sure your kids feel seen, loved, I'm around, I'm
But
here,
still
but
hold your
like
boundaries.
hey, but I'm working.
Yeah.
Like I need another hour and a half. Like
Yeah.
how do you manage that?
I just say, my husband is incredibly supportive. Without him,
Amazing.
would not be able to do what I do. Shout out to Kevin.
Let's go, Kevin.
We love you, Kevin.
Love you, Kevin.
We love a good Kevin.
We love a Kevin. So luckily, and I am very organized in my own life, personal life and business, very, very type A. So that's calendars, all my sessions. And that's why I plan my year so far in advance too.
Yeah.
So I can get childcare and make sure that they are taken care of.
Yep.
But so like for a weekend session, I, make sure my husband's available and willing, which of course he is, because he's amazing like that. Or it's, finding a babysitter or asking my mom who lives down the street. But it's things like that. And the kids are at a point where they know mommy has to go to work, but
Yeah.
I'll be back, and it's just like, oh, don't worry. Like I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah.
If it's like a late night call or something like that, because obviously my office hours don't work with everybody's schedule.
Right.
So I am willing to accommodate if it works with our home schedule. For somebody who works until 5:00, if we need to jump on a call at 6, I just say, you know what? I'm going to go to my office, sneak away, lock the door,
Yeah.
and then hop on a call for about an hour. And
Yeah.
then-
Great.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That's really, really good. Okay. Last advice for people just maybe struggling with building just a wedding business. Like, do you have any just like general advice for like, hey, do this or don't do this? Like just for someone who's like in your space of like, I was just getting started and I want to get things rolling. I want to get out of my 9 to 5. What would be like the first 2 things you would tell them to do? Like here's the first 2 actions.
Yeah, I would say second shoot and go to content days. Those 2 things really just grew my portfolio
Yeah.
and really helped me book my own clients.
that.
Second shooting is amazing because you get to work with another photographer.
Totally.
And I still, the people that I second shot with, like earlier, my friend Amanda, who luckily lent me some photos.
So good.
Still second shoot for each
Love
other
her.
to this
Love an
day.
Amanda.
We
love
also
an Amanda.
love an Amanda. And she's also about to have her first child. So
Oh
that's
my gosh.
exciting.
Congratulations, Amanda. We love an Amanda that's about having a first child.
Amanda that's about to have a
Yeah.
baby. And then content days. Some of them are our best, of course, but you know, it's a great way to network. And I really did meet a lot of my friends within the photography community through content days.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun way to collaborate with other photographers. Hey, what are you doing? Do you use the same camera? Perfect. I can ask you questions. And you get to build your portfolio. And that's a great time for you also to get more artistic with your photos because it's not a paying client.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can try new things. You can try different things with lighting, blurry photos, you know, things like that. Whereas if it's a wedding day, you're a little more nervous to kind of step out of that box.
Yeah.
But,
Totally.
yeah.
So you touched on kind of networking and community. Talk about like the place community has in your business life,
Yes.
in all of that kind of stuff. How is that helpful for you in growing your business?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I have more friends now than I did working in an office with like 40 other women. Which is like,
love
it's
that.
crazy to think about, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do have more flexibility in my schedule where it's like, hey, let's get coffee.
You can pursue friendships.
Let's have an editing date. Let's have a headshot date. Things like
Yeah.
that.
I love that.
And then that's also how you build relationships, you know, second shooting and associate shooting, things like that. So yeah, the photography community, specifically in this area, Placer County, is huge. And
Yeah.
So
everyone, it's really a community over competition type of
I love it.
Yeah.
mindset. So that's amazing.
Move to Placer County, everybody.
Move to
It's
Placer
great
I
over
love
here.
it.
Yep.
I love it.
That's
So,
good.
aside from like, you know, editing dates and second shooting, like all the benefits of having in-person community, and I'm sure you get a ton of benefit from virtual community on the creative side as well.
Yep.
Talk to me about the business side of stuff. How important to you is it to have community of people, or you even just putting yourself in proximity with communities of people that are focused on business? How important is that for you to grow?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it really is, like, as cliche as it is, surround yourself with people that you want to, what is the saying? Surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
But it's true. Like, for example, my girls who I met through Creativ Rise, we're all within the same, you know, industry business with weddings, and we're all in the same spot kind of within our businesses too. So it's great to just have that connection to say, hey, what would you guys do in this scenario? Or I had a bride reach out about X, Y, and Z. Like, what would you guys do? And it's really nice to just have somebody to bounce your ideas off of and make sure it's kind of like validation, like if you
Yeah.
are doing the right thing, or what you can do better next time.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
So talk to me about the mastermind. We'll wrap up with this. You were in round 9. You came in and you have more than doubled your income since you came out, which is so cool.
Yeah.
What was something that you took away from the mastermind besides the community and the accountability? Like maybe what's something tactical that you're like, oh, I'm taking this away and this has helped me double my income.
Yeah. It would just be, I think, being confident enough to know what you're offering and raising your prices, things like that. That's something that really, honestly, without you guys pushing me to raise my prices the first time, I don't know where I would be. You know, I'd probably be booking twice as many weddings for about $3,000. So I think things like that, and just marketing yourself and really just putting your brand out there so people can see you for your brand and your true identity. Yeah. And of course, the huge plus is the community that you build.
100%.
Of course.
Yeah. What would you
Yeah.
say to somebody who's like, I feel like I am a version of Kristin, you know, a year ago. I'm potentially considering the mastermind. Should I look into it? Should I not? What would you say to that person?
1,000% do it. I would do it all over again if I could, really.
We have so many people
but-
say it. I'm like, we need to find a way
Yeah.
to just do like,
How do I get back in?
yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yes, 1,000% do it. Invest in your education. That is the only way that you're going to learn. I mean, you can do the best you can with YouTube, you know,
Yes, of course.
friendships, things like that. But you really have to learn from people who are experts in their business.
In their spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristin, this has been so fun. Thank you so
Yes,
much for being on the
thank
show.
you.
We've got 2 last questions really quick. Where can people find you?
Oh, on Instagram?
On Instagram, yeah.
At Kristin Healy Photography.
Awesome. So hit her
It'll
up.
be in the show
And then
notes.
last but
Yeah.
not least, our signature show question real quick.
Okay.
Why should someone break the creative struggle in their own lives? You've broken the creative struggle. You're living in a business that is thriving and growing, which is amazing. It's what so many creatives dream of. Why should someone care enough, take the risk, do all those things that it takes to do that? Why should someone do it? Like,
Yeah.
why is it worth it to you?
Honestly, just overall happiness and a fulfillment of life. You're just, I mean, it's a weight lifted. So you're just happier. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing the show for. That's why you're on the podcast today. Thanks so much for giving so much
Thank
value.
you.
Yes.
This has been awesome.
Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much for being on the show.
All right. Thank you for having me.
That was so good with Kristin. She is just a ball of energy, and we love her confidence. We're like, man,
Oh my gosh.
confidence is huge for running a business. And the great thing about confidence is that it can be borrowed. You can borrow confidence from other people. It's just like when you, hopefully after you listen to this podcast, you feel more hyped and more confident to go out and do the things that Kristin was talking about because you borrowed confidence from Kristin. And that is how confidence works. And so if you are someone who's isolated or you're around a lot of people who aren't confident and therefore that bleeds onto you, you need to borrow confidence from other people. And if you don't have that, we have something for you. It's the Creativ Rise Mastermind. It's literally what Kristin was talking about, a atmosphere of community-minded, community over competition people, creatives who are ready to support you and help you get to the next level. So if you want in on that, it starts September 10th, but early access, the waitlisters get early access on August 23rd to the application to get in, because again, it's limited spots. So if you want to get in on that, all you have to do is go to creativrise.com or just go to the show notes below, click that link, and you'll be able to get on a no commitment wait list. It's super easy. We'll just send you a few emails. No big deal, no commitment. But that, yeah, you want to get on it because there's over 200 people that are already on it.
There's almost 10 people for every one spot in the mastermind that we have already on the wait list, which is a lot. So, and the wait list always grows in the last like week and a half before we actually open up the application. So if you're wanting to make 2023 the year, guys, you want to make the second half of 2023 huge and make sure you set yourself up with a phenomenal foundation community that's going to hold you accountable for 2024. This is a great step.
Yes.
No worries. Absolutely no pressure if you don't want to do it. But if you are that type of person who goes, I've been wanting this for a while, I've been listening to the podcast, I've been reading books, or maybe I haven't been doing enough of those things because I know I just need a bigger step that's going to keep me accountable, this is what you need. And we're so excited for the next 35 businesses. So what a phenomenal episode with Kristin. So cool. So excited to get to have her story be passed on through the podcast. And hopefully it was inspiring for you. You learned a couple things. And this is going to be a great next couple of months. The next round of the mastermind, the podcast, we're coming up with some awesome new content for you guys. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. So if you love this episode, share it, tag us and tag Kristin, give her a follow, check out what she's doing. Send her a huge thank you. That would mean the world to her and to us. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you at the next episode.
See you next week.